Our headlines today. Concerns over the presence of lightweight concrete in schools and hospitals widen. Labour calls for urgent checks in all public buildings in England.
The death is announced of Mohammed Al-Fayed, the former owner of Harrods, whose son was killed alongside Princess Diana in a car crash in Paris.
Tougher rules on who can provide cosmetic treatments like Botox. The public's asked for views on new regulations.
Good morning. In sport, the transfer window closes with Premier League clubs spending more than £2.25 billion. Not much of it by Luton, though. Their first ever Premier League home match ended in defeat, beaten by West Ham.
And why World War II veterans are being given free lifts in a fleet of taxis to take part in a ceremony in the Netherlands.
And for the first time in what seems like a long time, this weekend is looking fine. Lots of dry weather with some warm, sunny spells.
Turtle news time now.
It was news yesterday. You remember that? This was Tally, wasn't it, yesterday?
Yeah, Tally the turtle.
Apparently, turtle names all begin with T. Alliteration is good, isn't it? Tina, Tally. So we're talking about Tina today. Let's tell you about Tina.
Tina the turtle.
Here's the moment.
This is... Oh, she's a big girl, isn't she? She's an endangered loggerhead turtle who was returned to the sea in Florida Keys. Now, Tina has a story. Tina was originally found trapped in fishing line, and she's thought to be around 40 years old, and she's being carefully nursed back to health before being sent on her own. Tina's determined. She knows where she's going, yeah? Because Tally was small. Tally was transported from Anglesey, wasn't he, by the RAF over to the States.
Long journey.
Yeah.
Look at that.
But here's Tina. Off she goes. We wish her well. I wonder what's the turtle name tomorrow? Tommy? Tommy
Tammy.
Turtle. Tammy. You think it's another girl?
Tony.
We can talk to Simon.
Do you know the thing is, Simon, our expert was telling us yesterday that they forge the individual relationships with the turtles. You know, they kind of recognise human beings, which took me slightly by surprise. I'd never figured they would have that kind of engagement. But
no.
Well, that's how they
good.
were trying to distance themselves from the turtles, weren't they?
Quite.
Because they don't want to be too familiar.
By Tuesday, we'll have the whole cast of the Ninja Turtles, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Raphael, can you name all four? That's the thing.
Donatello, Raphael, Leonardo.
Yeah. There's one more.
There's one more.
Another
Tony.
Tony.
We always forget that one, don't we?
Yeah.
Silly. This morning, Saturday morning, front pages and starting the Times, story of dangerous concrete in schools featuring many of the front pages. You could see in the Times reporting that more schools expected to close next week. Then in the Daily Express, also featuring the same story, ticking time bomb could hit hospitals as well. We will be exploring that story quite a bit this morning from people, head teachers in schools that have already been affected and who've had some of that material removed already, and those question marks about the extent of the problem as well.
Now, The Sun is leading on the death of former Harrods owner Mohammed Al-Fayed, who has died at the age of 94. And finally, the Daily Star looks ahead to what's forecast, as we were just hearing from Simon, to be a turn in the weather after a dreary few weeks. Summer is back again, just as kids head back to school. Typical, reads the paper's headline.
One picture, really, that tells the story. So, have a look at this. What have we got? We've got a 58-year-old woman from Tennessee who's earned the title of the world's longest mullet for a female. Obviously, a mullet is... well, do you need me to explain what a mullet is?
Yes, do, because you're very familiar with the mullet, I understand.
Short at the sides, long at the back. And that is...
Tammy Manis.
I think that's mullet to the max, I think we can call it.
Do you want to know how long that is? 5 foot 8 inches. Tammy Manis's mane. 5 foot 8 inches. Her mullet is longer than I am tall.
It's significant. I'm almost thinking that's not really a mullet. I think when it gets that long, it turns into something else. But, you know, they've made a decision and they've got a winner, so can't really knock it. I would have quite liked to have seen the other contestants, just to have seen some of the variety that might have been on show. Just taking a look at some of the inside pages for you. You may have seen that the French are officially throwing away a huge amount of wine at the moment.
Yes, because of the pricing, isn't it? It's been undercut.
Well, there's a story today looking at just the reasons behind that and some of the more wider problems in the industry. Now, number one is Clive Martin, the Daily Telegraph, wrote this piece. I'm introduced to a whole new word, which maybe everyone knew. I feel like I've never heard this word before. So he starts the piece saying, leftover wine is a sin, goes the old dinner party cliche. If that's the case, then France, surely the most oenophilic nation of all. O-E-N-O-P-H-I-L-I-C.
Wouldn't it be enophilic?
Enophilic or enophilic?
Enophilic.
I've never heard that word before, and all it means is a devotee of wine. Someone who absolutely loves wine.
You could be an enophile.
Yes.
Oh.
I just did not know that before. I had no idea, but that's the word
I love
for it,
the fact that
apparently.
you're sharing with everyone this morning.
Well,
the
maybe
words you
everyone
don't
watching
know.
this is going to say, well, everybody knows that word, don't they? I just didn't know it. But interesting, the sales, looking across the whole of Europe, down, this is a red wine particularly, down 7% in Italy, 10% in Spain, 15% in France, 22% in Germany. So it's shared all over Europe. Anyway, that's my thought for the morning. There you go.
If you're an enophile, you'd have known that already.